In 1995, the U.S. Congress declared that Jerusalem should be recognized as the capital of Israel and that the U.S. Embassy should be located in Jerusalem. Presidents Clinton, Bush, and Obama all agreed with that position. For 22 years, the American people have overwhelmingly supported that position. This week, President Trump instructed the State Department to begin the process of relocating the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. That is what the President has done. And this is what he has not done. The United States has not taken a position on boundaries or borders. The specific dimensions of sovereignty over Jerusalem are still to be decided by the Israelis and the Palestinians in negotiations. The United States has not advocated changing any of the arrangements at the Temple Mount Harim al-Sharif. The President specifically called for maintaining the status quo at the holy sites. Finally, and critically, the United States is not predetermining final status issues. We remain committed to achieving a lasting peace agreement. We support a two-state solution if agreed to by the parties. Those are the facts of what was said and done this week. We support a two-state solution. We support a two-state solution. We support a two-state solution.
Does the Trump administration now consider, Ambassador, East Jerusalem as part of Israel?
If you notice, we didn't say anything about any part of Jerusalem. That's for the two sides to decide. That's not for the United States to decide. For decide east and west, that's between the two parties. And we're going to let them do that, and we're going to support them in that process. We don't want to pick a side on this. What we want to say is it is time, for the sake of Israeli children and Palestinian children, it is time for those two sides to come together. It's time for them to negotiate, and the United States is pushing that process. They get to decide the details. It's not for us to decide. We did not talk about boundaries or borders for a reason, and that's because whatever is East Jerusalem or any other part, that's between the Palestinians and the Israelis. That's not for the Americans to decide. The Americans just said we want our embassy in the capital, and that capital is Jerusalem. They get to come together. They get to decide what the borders will look like. They get to decide the boundaries, and they get to talk about how they want to see Jerusalem going forward. All we did was say, this is not something that we're going to allow to happen in the middle of your negotiations. You come together and you decide what you want from the Israelis and the Palestinians for the peace process to look like. And that's what we're going to continue to do.